Hello everybody, how is it going, and welcome to another episode of Amps in the Axe FX 3. Today we are going to be checking out the Armageddon in a box, the Bogner Uberschall. Guys, if you have been here before or if this is your first time here, make sure you don't forget to subscribe because I got a lot of cool stuff that goes on here and I don't want you to miss it. So let's dive right into this Bogner Ubershall. It is a very massive high gain amp. I'm going to show you how I dialed it in. I'm going to read a little bit of information about it. So in the Axe FX itself, it's called the Euro Uber, and we only have one mode from it, and that is the distortion and or lead channel. From it, I already going to be using is the GGDzilla oversized 412 with a UKV30 with an SM57 mic on it. These are some of the settings that I have in the cab block. Very, very simple. The drive I'm using on it is going to be the Horizon devices. Precision drive, volume's at 5, some pretty moderate settings right here. It's just one of my favorite overdrives in the Axe FX, by the way. I love that pedal. Glad it's in here. So, let's read a little bit about the Bogner Ubershall. This is going to come from EX Amp Guide. I'm going to put a description to that in the comments down below if you want to check it out. So, the Ubershall, as I said before, is called the Armageddon in a box. I didn't really follow these tips right here, but I'll show you that in a little bit in a minute or so. So the Bogner Uberschall, to me, it sort of reminds me of a German recto. I don't exactly know what year the Uberschall came out, but I believe it was in the 90s at some point, kind of around when the rectifier came out. If you know the exact year it came out, let me know in the comments down below. Now, this is not the twin jet. There is a twin jet version of this. The twin jet isn't as like aggressive. It has a better clean sound to it, and it's a little more flexible. I believe the one that we have in the Axe FX itself was one of the first ones that came out with the very like in-your-face dual recto style of the Ubershall. That's what I call it. I call it kind of like a rectifier because it kind of has the same characteristics. Super massive amount of bass on the low end, kind of like a harsh upper end. It's one of those amps that you either absolutely cannot stand or you absolutely love. There's like no middle ground for it there. It's 100 watts. The one that we have modeled in the Axe FX is the EL34-1, but you can get it with KT88 or some 606 power tubes. Uberschall is a German word for supersonic, if you did not know that. And it's basically meant to be a super high gain and very much in your face. This is very important right here. So the mid-range knob on here kind of controls a lot of the amp. And as Yek puts it here, a forum member described kind of what the knobs do, since he has the forum member apparently. I'm pretty sure he has a real amp. The treble knob is like a presence knob. The mid knob is similar to a treble knob, and the presence knob is like a contour knob. So the knobs on Bogners are very interesting because as most people set up amps, we want to set it around noon, but that's not the case with Bogners. The way that the pots are made, if you want like a lot of treble, you have to crank it. Like, they're just built that way, so you kind of have to dial them in with your ears and just not be afraid to scoop out or crank, basically. So use your ears and not the knobs, especially when it comes to Bogners. It was the same way on the Ecstasy. So let's actually come back here and look at the settings that I did. So I dialed everything in authentic. The bright switch was on. I did not use the cut switch in here. I understand why it was saying to use that and the X Amp Guide because this thing has a ton of bass. I just slapped it right there on 1. I lowered it down to keep things kind of nice, bright and tight. I do that a lot for my high gain amps. I have the input knob kind of like at 3 right here because when you push it past that, it gets kind of crazy. As you can see, I have the treble knob kind of up a little bit, and the presence knob is kind of down right there, since as we read, it kind of acts as a contour knob. There is no depth knob. It isn't ideal, but there's no depth knob on the real amp itself. The depth itself is set permanently, so you can't really adjust it, so that's why we don't have one in the authentic tab right here. I did not touch anything else. All I did was I scooped it a little bit. Let me let you hear what it sounds like with the EQ on and off, and then we'll go back to the authentic tab and discover some stuff. I have a little bit of a scoop in it, possibly even too much of a scoop. It's just there's a lot of mids going on, so that's why. I kicked it out. So let's go back to the authentic. I'm going to push the input drive, and then I'll kind of go through the rest of the knobs and kind of show you how it behaves. As you can hear, it gets kind of fizzy the more you push it. So the bass knob is extremely, extremely sensitive. Watch, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Too, because I like how it sounds better like that. So you have so much bass on tap, be like extremely cautious whenever using it. So the mid knob, like we read before, it's very, very sensitive. This actually pushes your volume up, okay? So I had to do some gain staging before I started, so that way I didn't blow your ears out whenever we cranked it. So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Let me see, I'm gonna lower it a little bit right here. Alright, and you'll see. As you can see, the mid knob, I kind of like the way the mids behave on here, because as you push them up, it kind of gets a little bit sweeter, and you don't really get overloaded so much with mids. Now this is with a little scoop that I did in there, and let's mess with the treble and the presence knob. You can't be afraid to push the treble knob in here. I'm so afraid to push treble all the time because I don't want things to be harsh. And I had it lower than this, but you can hear once you kind of get past like 7.5 or so, it kind of starts to open up a little bit, which sounds nice. And let's mess with the presence and or the contour knob. And it does behave like a contour knob because it kind of shifts. It shifts the frequencies, but it doesn't make like a massive, massive, massive difference in it. Because you know, in some amps, when you turn the presence knob, it can get harsh kind of quickly there. Is that about it? Is that really it for the Uberschall? Yes, it is. Let me show you how it sounds if we use the, this is like the stock Uberschall cab. Let's see how this sounds. Kind of afraid it's too loud. Let me put that down. Kind of sounds similar to the Zilla cab, believe it or not. This stock cab's actually pretty good, believe it or not. It sounds pretty sweet. I just prefer to use this because I'm absolutely so used to it, and it's a little bit newer of an IR. I'm pretty sure this one's kind of a few years old, but it does sound really good, guys. That's gonna wrap it up for the Uberschall. As you can see, I have my settings kind of conservative right here. I put the input drive low. I mean, you can jack that up. Also in the EQ, I scooped some 8K out of it because it's like super, super harsh, and I put a little bit of 2K in there to kind of sweeten it up. But that is the Uberschall. Like I said, you either love this amp or you absolutely hate this amp. This is a great amp to blend with like a 5150 or a Soldano, something that kind of has like a really good high range. It's a good thing to blend with it, I think, and it would actually like be really, really cool. All right, guys, if you thought this video was cool, leave me a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. If you aren't subbed, you really should, because we got cool stuff going on here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you next one. Peace.